they get to meet so early on in the tournament. It's gonna make for a great race, though. Great thing to commentate tonight. So I'm glad everybody is here and joining us in this, because it's yeah, I can't wait for this to start. And there it is.
Yep, we've got a full heart container here in Link's house and just some arrows in Sanctuary. So it looks like the guys on the right are going for the Uncle route first, both using these sign strats here, which are pretty good. I prefer the bush strats, but if you can pump well enough, you can get the signs off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I like the sign just because it one hit kills them very fast. It's just a bit more reliable when you're bad at this game like I am.
Got synchronized bomb pickups from the Uncle, while Tairr is a little bit more pessimistic with his bomb pickups, instead farming some here just south of the Haunted Grove. We also get the hookshot here inside of the secret passage. So without the boots, that'll give us some mobility, and once we have access to Death Mountain, that'll also get us to East Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's right. And also a nice little perk it also adds is gives access to the early stun prize we get to see when they actually encounter enemies and have a way to kill them reliably.
Yep, Tairr is just gonna, looks like he's just gonna blind do the race game, which I don't think is a bad idea in Keysanity, just because there's so many items that could potentially be here. Although it's just a red rupee this time.
Decides to pick up the trash after all. Still need rupees. There's still better ways to get rupees, but hey, you already spent the bomb to get here, might as well get it, right?
Yeah, and depending if this is a Poverty Kakariko, might also be crucial in getting that bottle vendor item.
Yeah, that's right. Especially since Tairr used the bottom route, he didn't quite have access to doing the Houlihan trick from going this route, so might as well grab all the rupees he can.
Yeah, so I was just amused by the effect of the Sprite can sprite on the forest thief. It turned him completely green.
Yeah, these sprites, there's a lot of people that have suggested a lot of different things in spriting, and it's just amazing. And what are those?
What are those? I don't know.
So impressive. I did not even talk about wall chicken. That's how great early boots are.
Yep, that'll open up at least the bonk rocks here. But it's also a great item to have and might be required. Also get the Cane of Samaria here in the well.
That's not a bad weapon to have early on. As soon as they pick up a bit of magic, it's not always easy to do when you don't know what your drops are.
Yeah. It's also, like you said, a weapon, and that will let them, if they really want to, go into the front of Escape in Hyrule Castle and take out the guards pretty easily, at least once they find a magic drop.
Yeah, considering they'll probably get all of them the hookshot before getting inside, at least they can stun the guards and then carefully place a bomb or use the cane on them to easily kill them. So that's not as big as a problem as usually is.
We got our first big key, and it's the big key of Ganon's Tower, right from the bottle merchant.
Wow, is this a plan though?
Maybe.
If so, it's a bad one.
Yeah, that big key can troll to no end in Keysanity, so none of these players are gonna dislike seeing that.
Oh yeah, if you've seen an open mode seed before, you usually say, "Oh, Ice Rod is one of the culprits that makes the seed so long." But yeah, in Keysanity, that's the Ganon Tower big key.
Yeah. Just need to make sure everybody actually has the money to buy it. Looks like they do. So, do you think these runners are all going to go straight to the South Shore area, or we're going to see, or do you think we're going to see some divergence? Maybe checking Bonk Rocks, maybe going to Eastern.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing early Bonk Rocks here since boots were found so early on.
And it looks like that's what we're going to do. In fact, eLmaGus will probably also check Lumberjack along the way.
Nope, just going around the block.
That was an interesting strat, honestly. If you have a sword, it's easy to charge through those guards, so I see why eLmaGus decided to take the route he did. And Tairr's going straight into the castle. Not having magic to use the cane, but hopefully... Oh, he didn't actually get the hookshot to begin with.
Yeah, it's gonna be really really fun to use early on. As we already seen, the stun prize is a 20 rupees, so that's pretty good for getting early rupees here and there.
Mm-hmm. So a big key in Lumberjack is interesting as well. I didn't actually notice it on other people's streams, but they might have to get that.
Yeah, it's always one of those things where you don't know which one it is, so it's a bit of a trolley item. Might be used, might not be used. We'll see later on.
Yep. Got some fire here as well in the dam. On both Zarby's and eLmaGus' side, and the lanes.
The route divergence always changing here as Thalanee is going into Mini Moldorm and Tairr in Castle Basement.
Ooh, we find the flute here in Mini Boldorm's cave, as well as a Desert Palace small key, a useless map, and some petty cash.
And meanwhile, Tairr found the flippers in the first chest of Castle Basement.
That'll be interesting, especially if any of these runners decide to fake flipper here, because it might actually hold something great. eLmaGus is actually checking Agina's cave here. Finding the blue cane, which could come in handy, honestly.
Oh, definitely. Early on in the seed, without like a sword or the hammer, that's a great weapon to have in hand.
Looks like Tairr is setting up for a death warp. Hopefully he didn't set it up too good.
Yeah, especially when you don't have a lot of HP going down there. You need to make him count, and right now he can't take a single hit, or he will have to go back all over the castle just to get to this single chest.
Yeah. Well, thankfully he was able to stun that green guard, and hopefully we'll be able to kill this ball and chain guard with the 2 pots, and then use the green guard as a death warp. Oh, maybe he wasn't actually going for the death warp.
It seems that his hesitation might have just going for it, but decided against it.
However, that's a little scary on his side, because he's going to get the lamp here just in a minute. So, by the logic, like, that would have been completely open to him. Thalanee is activating our, I believe that's our first activated flute.
I believe so too. Zarby unfortunately got crabbed here. It does happen, especially early game when you don't have a lot of hearts. These crabs hit for like a truck. 2 full hearts of damage, I believe.
Yep. We're going to be seeing our first old man check here. With the lamp in hand, it's actually pretty easy. You don't have to fumble around through the dark.
Yep, it's one of those quality of life items for these really good runners that we have in this tournament, as usually most of them can do most dark rooms, but it also serves as being able to light on torches here and there. So it's really useful to have early on.
eLmaGus is actually doing the fake flipper here. Doesn't have a lot of money, so we probably won't see the Zora area. Or if we do, we won't see the Zora purchase. But,
yeah, I can see it just going a save and quit after he checks Hobo here, just because without the Moon Pearl, you can't even check the Waterfall Cave either, so you don't get a lot of value by going up there.
Yeah, we see a small key on Spectacle Rock, which could be interesting, and another small key inside of Spectacle Rock. And eLmaGus does indeed opt to save and quit after Hobo, though I did not see what he got.
Only his big 20.
Okay. Alright, so I believe we're also seeing our first Eastern Palace check here, by way of Sahasrah's hut. And we see our first pendant is Thieves Town. Well, it's not too early to start collecting Palace of Darkness small keys because chances are we're going to be needing a lot of them.
Oh yeah, with a total of 6 small keys in Palace of Darkness. And you do need most of those just to get by every chest in there.
And eLmaGus is opting to go directly into Eastern. With a lamp in hand, I don't see this as a bad idea at all.
Yeah, he still has access to, I believe, 4 chests right off the bat, so that's not a bad thing.
We're going to be seeing everything in Paradox Cave on Thalane's side as well. We get the Tower of Hera big key on eLmaGus' side.
That's nice, but still need a few more items to be able to even access Tower of Hera, so we'll keep that in mind for later on.
Pretty much just a mirror. Get our first glove here in Paradox Cave. And a fire rod. And a bottle. So that actually opens up Sick Kid for us.
Oh yeah. That is the hype cave we love and know. I mean, Paradox.
Yeah, the glove also gets us to the backside of Escape, which is really nice. There's also another small key, which I missed. I believe it was a Ganon's Tower one. Yep.
Now, having the fire rod this early is also a really, really good weapon to have when you don't have the hammer yet, as it does do pretty much an instant kill on most enemies.
Yeah, without half magic though, it's pretty costly. We'll be seeing the last of the items we can get so far in Eastern Palace here on eLmaGus' side. We did get the hammer in here that I missed. So with the hammer in hand, we actually do have Hera access now.
Yeah, and given his routing, I think he has a small advantage right now.
Yeah, but eLmaGus also hasn't seen what's inside of the castle here. So... Oh, it looks like eLmaGus might be visiting the Dark Room first. So I think the opportunities for items are kind of slumming on all fronts here. The lane is now probably heading towards Eastern. That's more or less the only thing left. Zarby and Tairr are still cleaning up. They're still cleaning up East Death Mountain. And eLmaGus is gonna see what's inside this chest, and it's just a map of Ganon Tower.
One of the trolliest map you can find.
That in Hyrule Castle, for experienced runners, provides no benefit. I believe we're now going to be seeing our first back of escape, unless I'm mistaken. Oh no, looks like the lane got it with Bombos. And we'll also know what Palace of Darkness is once we get to the Dark World.
Yep, shouldn't be too long, as the really only thing we know they're missing is the Moon Pearl to have access to the Dark World for now.
Thankfully, there's one particular troll in Keysanity that doesn't seem to happen all that often, or if it does, it's like incredibly obvious. And that's the Moon Pearl on the pyramid.
Ah, yes.
Because if you get the 2 castle tower keys and all the other required items to do Aghanim, it's pretty obvious that you're doing Aghanim. It's like not even a gamble at that point.
Yeah, that's right. Because of the requirement of 2 small keys to Aga Tower, you know a lot more when you have to do it.
Tairr's getting a bit bullied by these crabs, wasting a bit of time here. So we do have access to Tairr, right? I mean, that is the case, once everybody picks up their hammer, which the lane just did.
With Hookshot and Hammer, they go all around the mountain up to Tower of Hera, and of course they did find the big key for Tower of Hera, so most of it will be accessible.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some money on the table for a vanilla Moon Pearl.
That's unusual, but very much possible right now.
I'm gonna put 20 rupees, big 20. It looks like everybody's just going to be grabbing the hammer, and honestly, outside of other scraps like Agina's Cave, which I think only eLmaGus has done at this point, like, it has to be Hera. So eLmaGus already being in the Death Mountain area might actually give him a bit of an advantage, because he's going to end up going to Hera probably before Spiral Cave, actually. I don't actually know if there was anything in Spiral Cave that was good or not. I'm pretty sure there wasn't.
Yeah, unfortunately I missed it.
We see a Zora check with Ether, it looks like, on the ledge.
Yeah, that's a nice find. It could prove useful later on, depending on the what's inside of Mire and Tairr rock. As Ether is a bit less useful than bombos in general, just because bombos can be used to melt enemies inside Ice Palace.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, Tairr will not have the money to actually buy the Zora item.
Well, let's hope for him that it's nothing useful, as it usually is.
I believe eLmaGus was having a little bit of trouble with the bomb jump there, instead opting to just save and quit. Or something. I just saw him fly back into the mountain. So eLmaGus needs to keep that back of escape on his mind. He's going to get the glove here soon, but he's probably going to also go to Hera. Because bombos might actually be important. And it does look like thalanee is about to just get that, I believe, a trolley map here in the Dark Sewer chest.
Indeed.
I also think Tairr hasn't done that chest either at this point, but I'm not 100% sure.
Zarby just realized he does not have the flippers at the moment.
It's true, Zarby did do East Death Mountain, but overall has fallen a bit behind thalanee, I believe. The flippers were in the front of Escape, I believe?
Yeah, down in Castle Basement.
Right.
It's a bit early to say who's in what order of place, just because Keysanity tends to, well, change the pace really fast of who's doing better. Just because of you find one item that your opponent can search for an extra half hour for.
Yep, we find another Palace of Darkness small key here in the Tower of Hera map chest? Or is it compass? I don't know. Point is that eLmaGus, having the big key, is going upstairs and will probably be seeing that vanilla moon pearl pretty soon. At least, I hope.
It's either that or some other progression item, such as, I don't know, a small key for Castle Tower.
Nobody wants to see that. Plus, we don't even have a sword yet. Or a cape. Oh, it's French vanilla. Dang it.
Close enough.
And the mitts. Right there. Gives us everything we need. And not knowing what Tower of Hera is, eLmaGus is opting to actually complete it, which is a good move. Having the hammer in hand, gonna be able to skip the rage phase of Moldorm.
Yeah, with 3 quick hammer hits, Moldorm goes pretty fast when you have the hammer.
Looks like Tairr's finally opting to get back up to the Hera area, now that he has that hammer in hand. Did not see what Moldorm dropped, though.
Only a small piece of heart, so nothing much. But he did give a first crystal, which that's something a bit more useful overall.
Yeah. First crystal 24 minutes in Keysanity isn't... I mean, that's pretty quick.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few races where you can end up almost an hour in before you get your first crystal, just having to find keys all over the place.
So yeah, eLmaGus has a bit of a lead. Tairr still has some items eLmaGus doesn't have, but they're medallions, so we don't necessarily know if they're required. And one of them, eLmaGus, is probably going to be getting as soon as he's done with the mountain.
Oh yeah, because as soon as you'll go on the dark side of it, you'll be able to check what's locking Tairr Rock.
It's true. And on the top side here, Zarby and thalanee are also making the Hera play, which is pretty much the only option at this point.
Yeah, that's why we see all players right now are pretty much doing the same exact things, just because they've exhausted almost all of other options, and when your last option is to go into a specific dungeon, well, you don't wait for it.
Yeah, unfortunately, thalanee got a little bit trolled here. I think if you're able to switch out to the fire rod, you'd be able to hit the switch, but he fell down some stairs, or he fell down a pit and ended up on the wrong side of some hammer pegs and opted to take a game over. So Zarby actually catching up a bit because of that.
Yeah, it's one of those places where Boomerang could have been useful. Yeah, one of the only places it could be useful.
That, Ganon's Tower, not much else. You also got the big key of Eastern Palace that opens one location to us right now. Until we get the bow, and that'll be another one. A small key of Ice Palace, not necessarily required, but actually speeds up Ice Palace quite a bit.
Oh yeah, having a single small key can make the difference. And like, I think it's nearly 2 to 3 minutes in Ice Palace. It's a good find.
Yeah, eLmaGus is also heading towards Spike Cave right now, which is a pretty interesting play given we don't have a lot of health. He wasn't able to get a fairy drop.
Yeah, I understand his concern and saving quitting, because I don't think he'd have even enough magic just to go through that cave.
Zarby's picking up the Moon Pearl and Mitts here, and thalanee is going to be challenging the Moldorm himself. Interesting. I don't know where Tairr got that key, but Tairr has a small key for Tower of Hera, which none of the other racers had, I'm pretty sure. So, Hera basement could be very important. Waterfall Fairy had the small key, according to our tracker. Dude. So shout out to our trackers. Didn't do that yet. We have Dude and Dragon Strike 1988.
Yeah, they make our job a lot more easier.
So what do we got? Is Tairr going to be getting a great find or trash? Trash. Unfortunate. However, that location will now weigh on the minds of all the other runners. And Tairr will have the knowledge in knowing that it's crap.
Yep, information sometimes makes you play better too.
eLmaGus is about to get that key as well. He does have money for Zora too, so I think this is going to be our first Zora check.
I believe so.
Ganon's Tower Compass. We have the full set of meaningless Ganon's Tower crap. So that's good.
All they need is the only thing useful to enter Ganon's tower.
7 crystals.
Exactly.
Also need that bow too. Can't get very far upstairs without it.
And we saw here quickly on Tairr's screen, it looks like Turtle Rock was locked by bombos. I missed it earlier, so here's a refresher for you guys. I also missed it.
Yeah. Zora also sells us a golden key to Turtle Rock. That could be important. Oh, we find our bow, speak of the devil, in the bomb hut here inside Village of Outcasts.
That's a pretty early bow.
Yeah. And Thalanee is opting to do Skull Woods, which I don't disagree with.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this seed so far has been very generous.
Did find another small key inside inside the sea house. Did not get what it was though. Maybe it was a big key, I don't know. eLmaGus is showing us what's inside Hype Cave. We get a small shield, a magic boomerang, some money, a piece of heart, and the shovel. So, hype? Question mark?
That's yeah, it's somewhat hype. I agree with you.
Depends on what the shovel brings. eLmaGus is also going to be showing us, using the bomb shop salesman, what crystals we need for the big bomb, and that's Skull Woods and Turtle Rock. So we do need that Turtle Rock small key, most likely.
Oh yeah.
From Zora.
Yeah, Turtle Rock you can get by sometimes by skipping a key and just stealing one from inside the dungeon, but it's always risky because you kind of condemn one of the chests by doing that.
Looks like nothing good so far inside the front half of Thieves Town. Nothing good on the pyramid either.
Same with Skull Woods. It doesn't seem to have quite a thing so far inside too.
It looks like Thalanee is opting to go directly to Mothula. Actually, probably just checking the chest, because we can't actually get to Mothula yet. We do need a sword, and hopefully Thalanee remembers that.
Yeah, it's a bit unusual sometimes to not get a sword for some time, but when you play a lot of open, you get used to it, to not finding swords for upwards of an hour of time.
Yeah. eLmaGus is checking my favorite location in the game, Catfish. Let's see what Catfish holds. Oh, just a big 20, unfortunately. And nothing good in that Skull Woods chest. If you find a map here in Pet Cave, though, Zarby is opting not to pick it up. Which is kind of weird. Zarby also seems to forget that he doesn't have a mirror.
Hey, at least he got a sword. That's still a good find on him. From inside Thieves Town, I believe he got that. So
Okay.
that's a small advantage he can get from the other players here.
So I guess I was lying when I said we didn't find anything good in Thieves Town.
Get a bit tricky sometimes when you're commentating on 4 people at once. You kind of missed a few locations here and there.
eLmaGus is opting to go into Mire. Well, it looks like Thalanee is going to be heading into Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town, probably. Tairr is going to be finishing up Skull Woods because he did find a sword. I think.
I don't know.
I
Not
hope.
sure. Oh, nope, there's no sword.
Okay, Tairr's in for a rude awakening in 5. Okay, less than 5.
And he doesn't have a mirror too, so that's a bit of a costly mistake.
Yeah, it's really easy to forget that you need a sword to get to Mothula. Thalanee picking up the bow here in the bomb hut. Zarby, on the other hand, might be heading to the Dark World South loop. Might be picking up the purple chest, maybe? After doing big game. So where can we go? Like, realistically speaking, that we haven't seen. I guess we could go to Ice Palace, everybody's favorite dungeon.
Yeah, ice could be a good location for most of these players. Of course, Zarby would still need those flippers. He hasn't gone inside the castle yet.
That's true. Get a fairly useless small key to Ganon's Tower. It could be useful. I'm just gonna say it's useless just because the chances of it being useful are pretty slim. Because with the Ganon's Tower big key in hand, and all of the iffy items like hookshot, bow, Cane of Samaria, fire rod, things you might need in Ganon's Tower, we've already found them. So I'm gonna say it's probably first person to get to Ice Palace might take the lead.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good guess. Of course, I don't want to say this just because it's a bad gamble, but it could also work. Is Palace of Darkness?
Oh, that is true. We only have 3 small keys found so far, though. We don't even have the big key either. So it's kind of painful going there. So much of Palace of Darkness is locked behind like 4 keys, I think.
Yeah, it's really tricky where you decide to use what inside there, and like I said, it's a bad gamble, but it could pay off. If somebody decides to do it.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd go to Ice just because we have that small key. You don't even have to worry about having to take a weird slow route.
Yeah, it's more consistent, and you get to check pretty much everything you want. Except the big chest, of course.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, that's part of the fun with Keysanity, right? Double dipping dungeons, it's not one of those things where you go, oh, like in open. It happens a lot more often inside Keysanity.
Zarby is actually making the Palace of Darkness play, though. In fact, I don't even think Zarby went to the Pyramid or Catfish.
Nope, not that I've seen.
I mean, with the bow in hand and the hammer, that does open up a lot of possibilities. You can even skip going in the front door to save a key. It's just kind of slow if you have to save and quit or mirror out.
Yeah, especially without the mirror right here, it's gonna be awkward navigating Palace of Darkness, but it may prove to be an advantage. We'll see. I still believe, like you said, that Ice Palace would be a better thing, especially since you could just fake flippers inside, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, that was a vanilla small key!
Oh, it was! So now we have 4 Palace of Darkness small keys, which is actually accounting for skipping the front door and hammer yump, all of the keys you need in this dungeon. So, if Zarby decides to skip the front door, which it looks like he is, he could actually full clear this place, assuming he knows how to hammer jump. Oh wait, we don't have the big key yet. Never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself.
But still, hammer up is still good. It does save one door that you'll have to hammer up later on to check what's in the big chest, but other than that.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see like analytics on how often you'll find a Palace of Darkness small key in Palace of the Darkness and Keysanity, because I feel like it happens pretty often.
Yeah, and really, I don't mind. There's so many chests in there. Might as well have one thing that belongs in here.
Oh, we get the mirror in the Bowlock side of Palace of Darkness, and some red goo.
It's already paying off so far.
Yeah. Thalanee is going to be checking the pyramid and catfish, but has the frog in tow, so can't actually go to Palace of Darkness until we drop that frog off back at the dwarf's hut. So Zarby opting not to skip this vanilla big key chest, although unfortunately it's just 50 rupees. With a sword in hand, unlike Tairr earlier, eLmaGus will actually be able to clear everything in Skull Woods, except for, I guess, the big chest.
Yeah, it would still be a bit of a challenge. A small challenge with Mothra with only regular magic and the fire rod.
Yeah.
Especially with the fighter sword, it's not a very good weapon.
Yeah, so Zarby actually almost went through the front door, but thought better of it at the last second. Decides to kill these mimics again to save a key.
Yeah, it takes more time, but if it saves you a trip inside Palace of Darkness, it can end up being the time save.
So Tairr, I believe, will be checking the big chest here. And we'll probably be clearing out Eastern Palace. We have the map of Swamp Palace, so we'll know whether or not it's a pendant or a crystal soon enough. So we'll be seeing what Mothula has and what Armos have in short order.
Yep, and a few more locations at the same time here, and the more we know, so...
eLmaGus getting a really good Mothula pattern, getting a big key to Palace of Darkness.
That's very valuable for him, as that potentially just made him not go into Dark Palace more than once.
That's true. In fact, I probably see him going there soon. And if he does optimal strats, he'll be able to full clear it. Tairr gets a sword and a red pendant from Armos. So the first sword is really nice, especially considering he hasn't yet gone into Thieves Town to get the sword there.
Yep, and with that means we now have 2 swords found. So that's a nice thing too. As one thing that also tends to we tend to forget is you do need a Master Sword to finish this game.
Yep. So it's looking like Thalanee is opting to clear out the rest of Eastern Palace first and get the Master Sword on his end, as well as that red pendant. Now, we don't yet know what the pedestal holds, so it could still be required. And Zarby's opting to set up Hammer Yump here without any buffered inputs. Also, without resetting, or without entering the room from the south. So his timing is actually a lot harder. Looks like he's opting to instead use the key, which I don't think is a bad idea. I think he actually checked what's inside the spike room. Maybe he didn't. Just a Skullwood small key here in the dark room. Which is pretty useless, honestly.
Yeah.
Skullwoods and Misery Mire small keys are both things you just, like, groan at when you see them. So Tairr will be getting his Master Sword pretty soon. But he'll also be blocked. So I don't really know where we go next other than Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think our initial guess of Ice Palace still holds true.
I guess we could still get the big chest and Helmasaur in Palace of Darkness. eLmaGus does have the big key for there. I do forget where we got it. Was it from Mothula?
I think so. I don't mean to be mean here, but another place progression could be is the first chest of Swamp Palace.
That is true with the mirror in hand. With the mirror in hand, we also have two overworld caves. The Graveyard Cave and the South of Haunted Grove Cave, aka K45. So that could be something.
Yeah, it's definitely something that could happen very easily. Just the mirror has a few locations where are very forgettable. I am talking of experience here.
Yeah. Tairr also opting to leave that map for some reason. Do these players know something we don't? I guess we know where all the pendants are.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, if you know where all the pendants are, you pretty much know where all the crystals are. Still, it's sometimes nice just to have better confirmation of where the special things are.
Hello? Are we live?
I think we are. I think it's back.
Cool. So, looks like we got a cape here in Ice Palace, interestingly enough. eLmaGus is our first runner with a tempered sword.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice sword to have. I was about to say early on, but this seed is already an hour in. Still, it's pretty nice to have. It makes a lot of the bosses that much easier.
Yep, we do also find a Tairr key in Ice Palace. Looks like Zarby is just opting to go through this entire place, or not even full clear, just go directly to Gold Stair, which is kind of weird because Ice Palace is a pendant. And I believe he did have the capacity to full clear this dungeon, except for the big chest. Looks like eLmaGus is also going to be grabbing the book here in a second. Looks like we got a pretty good Cold Stare fight on Zarby's side. Getting the Ice Rod, interestingly enough. So, is that everything we need for Turtle Rock? Or is that everything we need? I guess we technically need another small key, but if these runners want to live on the edge, they could just go directly to Trenex and skip the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, they could. I mean, at this point, they have so many items that a small gamble like that, it's probably not a bad idea.
So in terms of actual items we need, it's just Quake. In terms of keys and such we need, I mean, we need Desert Palace big key, we need Swamp Palace small key, we need... Oh, I think that's it. If we're like completely optimal, I think that's it.
I think you're right. I can't see anything else.
So 3 items from Go Mode, or is that 4? And as Chad is pointing out, we do need technically a Turtle Rock small key. However, if the seed doesn't have anything good in that vanilla big chest, or big key chest in Turtle Rock, and these runners can skip it, then they could just skip it. And in fact, some of these runners might just take that gamble. Zarby is opting to go back into Ice Palace as well.
It's a route I've seen a couple of times, just to go straight for the boss and then try to clear it. It's a different approach. I'm not sure if it's faster.
Yeah. So we're seeing now what eLmaGus wanted to do probably at least like half an hour ago in checking Spike Cave. And it's just some bombs. eLmaGus, with the book in hand, will probably be checking Ether Tablets and the cave south of the Haunted Grove. Or not Ether Tablet, Bombos Tablet.
Yeah,
Fortunately, I don't think there was anything good there.
Yeah, I don't remember. Was in the dark times. Yep, you're right. Only money on the Bombos tablet.
So to do a quick recap, Zarby has 1 crystal only so far, the Tower of Hera. He has completed Ice Palace, and I believe he's now full cleared it. So the killing Cold Stare is necessary to get the Ice Rod, which is kind of fitting. And thalanee, on the other hand, has 3 crystals now: Tower of Hair, Palace of Darkness, and Skull Woods. Also completed Eastern Palace, getting not very much for his effort.
It did get him a tempered sword, which is not bad for the time investment.
Yeah. Tairr and eLmaGus on the bottom. Tairr has 2 crystals to eLmaGus' 3. They've both done Tower of Hair and Skull Woods, whereas eLmaGus has done Palace of Darkness in addition to that. And they've also both done Eastern Palace and gotten that extra sword. So everybody right now, except for Zarby, is running on Tempered. Zarby just needs to complete Eastern Palace if he really wants Tempered Sword, or hopefully he finds another sword along the way. Zarby has an advantage in having completed Ice Palace, because he has that Ice Rod, and also the Cape, which I don't think is actually useful in terms of progression, but it'll be useful if he has to do Master Sword Ganon.
Oh, definitely. Even if you're not doing Master Sword Ganon, it's still pretty useful.
We need the Quake Medallion to enter Misery Mire, though we could full clear it if we can enter it. We need the big key for Desert Palace on all fronts to actually clear that and get a crystal. And we need a small key for Swamp Palace to actually enter most of the dungeon. I don't think any of our runners have actually checked Swamp Palace, and since this isn't V27, they probably have less of a reason to do that.
Yeah, less, but not completely out. It's one of the trolley locations the stuff could be.
Yeah. Do you see a Misery Mire small key on Spectacle Rock? That isn't really useful, but we'll also see thalanee picking up, I believe it's just like a arrow upgrade here in Arrow Basement, so they probably won't be very happy with that.
Yeah, as we've seen Tairr pick it up pretty early on, getting disappointed by it.
So now with the items we have on the table, the next logical play is going to be Turtle Rock. We can clear it with what we've seen. That will be a sequence break, but Turtle Rock has a lot of chests, and if I were a betting man, I would say that it probably holds one of its own small keys. Zarby, on the other hand, might actually be going into Swamp Palace. It's a bit of a gamble, but well, maybe not. Might be checking the mirror location here south of the Haunted Grove. Looks like Tairr's also going to be cleaning out the rest of the mountain here. I think he might actually be the first person to be checking Ether Tablet. However, he does not have the Ice Rod, so if he does actually decide to check Turtle Rock, though it looks like he only has one small key for it, he'll probably be stopped pretty quickly. He does find nothing great, just a heart container inside the Ether Tablet.
Yeah, with only one small key for Turtle Rock, you don't get very far inside, especially without a big key too.
Looks like thalanee is going to be our first runner getting into Turtle Rock. Unfortunately, again, 2 small keys out of the 4, quote-unquote, necessary to beat Turtle Rock, and no Ice Rod. It means that Zarby will have a bit of an advantage going through Turtle Rock if he plays his cards right.
Maybe we'll get to see a vanilla small key inside Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's what I'm betting right now. But even then, thalanee will be stuck at the end without being able to clear Trinex. Until VTorp implements the ability to freeze the fire head with ether.
That'd be amazing.
So interestingly enough, in both races, one of the runners now is into Turtle Rock, but neither of them will be able to get all that far. I guess Thalanee will be able to get to Laser Bridge if he plays his cards right. But Tairr's gonna get stuck pretty soon, unless he gets a small key in the Chain Chomp room. Not entirely sure if Zarby is aware of the logic that Keysanity still guarantees a small key for Skull Woods in these party Gibdo room. Like, it's always guaranteed no matter what mode you're playing, unless it's like a customizer.
Yeah, I was wondering that just because of the number of keys he already had. Maybe it's just a small brain fart from usually doing that with no small keys available.
Yeah. So Tairr's going to be picking up his bomb pack here in the Spike Cave, unfortunately. Whereas Thalanee, especially with the mirror in hand, will be able to check quite a bit of locations. He did opt to save his key for Laser Bridge. Thalanee having a bit of trouble controlling these mimics. If you, I believe if you're like not moving and grab the wall, you can grab the wall and force them to move while you're pressing the directions. But instead, Thalanee opted to just take them out with the bow.
Yeah, there's a few ways to manipulate mimics. It's a bit weird how it works, but it's also useful in Ganon's Tower, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Wow, we found the map of Turtle Rock in Turtle Rock. What a coincidence.
What a twist.
Unfortunately, we already know from talking to the bomb shop owner that this is one of our important crystals.
Oh yeah, it's one of the 5-6 crystals.
eLmaGus is going back to East Death Mountain, probably going to be going into Turtle Rock. Does have everything he needs to clear out the dungeon, except for one chest. And I would expect Zarby will probably be going in that direction once he finishes Mothula. Okay, so we're about to see what's on Laser Bridge. I'm wondering if it's going to have a Turtle Rock small key.
Well, either way, I think Tairr won't be able to go further in, just because he's missing the Ice Rod. But
Right.
eLmaGus, on the other hand, could. He has enough small keys.
Ooh, okay, there's a very important small key there. And that's a small key of Swamp Palace. So that's actually really interesting because the game might actually want you to come into Turtle Rock to Laser Bridge to get the Swamp Palace small key, then go back to Swamp Palace, and maybe in Swamp Palace there's somewhere opened by items in Swamp Palace will be the final Turtle Rock small key, and probably Quake.
Yeah, what I don't like about this is by skipping that chest in Turtle Rock, the vanilla big key chest, that way they get some progression, so that just might be important because of it. I'm not sure about logic here. I'm just
oh that chest actually requires 4 keys, so it can't have a soft lock. You know, cross your fingers. So they would have to have 4 keys available for the algorithm to even think about putting an item in that chest.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that that could potentially be something really important. And if it is something like, say, Ether, or not Ether, I keep saying Ether, Quake medallion, eLmaGus probably won't be back here for quite some time. And assuming Zarby makes his way there after Palace of Darkness, he might be in the same boat.
Yeah, it's quite a predicament that one of these chests that you leave in dungeons for some time, because you really never know about what could be inside them until really you're looking for maybe 1 or 2 endgame items. And if you forget about those chests, that's when the whole world collapses.
Yeah. I don't typically use a tracker that keeps track of, like, chests in dungeons, but I think in Keysanity it's almost imperative if you want to do well. So yeah, we're seeing our first foray into Swamp Palace here. I don't know if anybody actually went in the front door to begin with, but this is the first time we're seeing past that first key door. At least Swamp Palace is a crystal, so it's not like coming here is a big waste of time.
Yeah, it's most likely going to be either very lucrative or a waste of time for everybody, so not that bad.
I mean, there has to be something here. Oh, look! There's something here. There's a Quake medallion inside Swamp Palace. That opens up pretty much the entirety of Misery Mire for us. We have the big key, we have the fire source, we have the Canis of Maria, we have the ability to check, I believe, everything in the dungeon.
And with that, we're one step closer to the end.
Yep. What else do we need? We need a Desert Palace big key. And potentially a Turtle Rock small key, depending on what these runners do. Chat is bringing up that does actually lead you further away from Ice Palace. So if you are the lane, if you are Tairr, although Tairr is actually an Ice Palace, so he'll probably be getting the Ice Rod soon enough. So if you're the lane, you might not visit Ice anytime soon. Like, the lane outside of the Ice Rod could be in go mode the first chest in Misery Mire. The lane could be in go mode even in Swamp Palace, depending on what's in here.
Yeah, that's why we never say really who's winning in these season Keysanity, just because, as I said earlier, it's so chaotic how fast the lead can change. So we're talking more about advantage, but so far this seed is looking to be going well within a normal time for, I think, a Keysanity seed.
So if the lane is finishing up Swamp Palace here, we'll be seeing what the last 4 items are soon enough. Okay. A Palace of Darkness small key, a Castle Tower small key, which is pretty useless at this point. Got a blue boomerang. And we'll see what Argus has. I mean, we did open up the entirety of Misery Mire, so that's a bunch of chests. I'm gonna guess that's where our Desert Palace key is. So I'd say eLmaGus has a very good advantage right now in being able to actually complete Turtle Rock. eLmaGus already knows where he wants to go next. The lane still needs to end up in Ice Palace at some point if he wants to win. And Zarby has to clear out Turtle Rock, but it looks like that's what he's doing right now. So Zarby might actually have a bit of an advantage depending on how long it takes the lane to end up in Ice Palace. Whereas I think eLmaGus has a strict advantage over Tairr right now.
Yeah, just a bit better routing on his part made it so getting the Ice Rod and the few keys for Turtle Rock just gave him a slight edge here.
Yeah. It's interesting to note, I felt like eLmaGus was lagging a bit in the beginning in terms of like getting new information, but overall his checks have been so much more efficient that built up over time. And in Keysanity, that's what you really want. Like, you want to be able to get all these efficient checks because you're going to need so many more checks than in regular open mode. A lot of other racers, and including eLmaGus in like open mode or standard, will often, you know, skip going to certain spots on the map, but we saw eLmaGus go to like Nagina's cave 15 minutes in. Like, you just have to be very thorough in Keysanity, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, a lot more than your standard seed or open, because you have to collect all those keys and big keys, and even possibly a few maps to just route properly. So there's definitely a more puzzle aspect to this mode where routing is definitely in as to save a bit more time overall.
So we're seeing our first Misery Mire entrance here on the lane side. What secrets does it hold, I wonder? Tairr is cleaning up some of the overworlds. Probably just trying to be very thorough before hitting the Turtle Rock. He is missing still a key to Turtle Rock. So I honestly couldn't tell you where he's missing it. I mean, with the keys he has in hand, he could get to Laser Bridge to get that small key, but nobody really wants to. Nobody really wants to do that. He has the Ice Rod. He should be able to beat the dungeon next time he goes into it.
Yeah. It's the worst feeling in the world, just going up to the one of the last doors of the dungeon and have to do it all over again just because you're missing a single small key.
Another notable location that has opened up to us, at least on eLmaGus' side, is the Pyramid Fairy. Thalanee never got the red crystal from Turtle Rock because they didn't have the Ice Rod, but eLmaGus did. So with the Skullwoods red crystal and the Turtle Rock red crystal, we can go see what's in the pyramid.
Yeah, and judging by because of the dungeon he's doing right now, it's probably a fair assessment that he'll do that right after this.
Maybe. I mean, getting out of Swamp Palace is one thing, but there's so many items in Mire. Like, I mean, so far we've seen it's not really panning out on Thalane's side, but we do have 5 more chests in here. Oh, 3 more chests. And unfortunately for Tairr, it looks like he's heading into Swamp Palace without a small key, which we know isn't the right move.
At least he won't get very far.
It's a bee in a bottle too. It's like VTorp made the seed specifically for us.
Now I'm just remembering something. What was in Lumberjack Cave again?
A big key, actually. Now that I think of it, there was a big key in Lumberjack.
Oh no.
It's good you brought that up, because I think everybody else forgot about it. Including the runners.
I think everybody wants to not remember about it.
Yeah, we also just found the Ice Palace big key in Misery Mire. That opens up 1 more spot. Did we just miss runners actually checking Lumberjack? Or actually getting the Lumberjack big key? Or did everybody just forget about it?
I don't know. I really hope that I did misremember that for some reason.
Yeah, this wasn't an Agaseed so far, so everybody would have to actually go and do Aghanim. And at this point, only the runners on the right side, Thalanee and eLmaGus, have the keys necessary. And one of those Castle Tower keys was in Swamp Palace. Thalanee is having a bit of trouble here with Vitreous. Down to 1 heart. I think he might have a red potion still. In fact, I would really hope he'd go into the inventory and look for it. Because these bomb strats are kind of suspect.
I mean, it's entertaining, but unnerving too.
Yeah. Don't die on Vitreous. It's like, it's a terrible feeling. And that's that. Thalanee taking a death, but does have a fairy. Okay. So that's good.
Crisis averted for now.
Yeah. Now I wonder if Thalanee knew that he had a fairy. Or if he was just chancing it. not using the bow, interestingly enough. The big eyeball in Vitreous only takes, I believe, 8 shots with the bow. Maybe Thalanee is concerned about arrow count for GT?
It is a possibility. I mean, considering they don't have silvers.
So along the way, Tairr now has all of the small keys necessary for Turtle Rock. And... oh, wait, never mind. He's in Turtle Rock.
It's been a while since I've seen that trick here. It's an interesting shortcut.
Yeah. Tairr's also deciding whether or not he wants to check the big key chest. And it looks like he's doing it. So there's still one key missing in action on Tairr's end. eLmaGus did do the early Vitreous strat, so we'll have to re-enter Misery Mire now to get the remaining 5 items. But the big key of Desert Palace is still missing in action. I'm starting to think that it's Lumberjack. I mean, it kind of has to be at this point. Well, I guess it doesn't really have to be, but...
it's looking like it can certainly be.
Yeah, so it might be an AGA required seed, you know, 135 in, or whenever these runners actually decide to pull the trigger on Aghanim. Looks like Thalanee is actually checking Lumberjack now for the first time. Going to be seeing that big key, so we might actually be seeing Aghanim on Thalane's side. Maybe not. Zarby having a little bit of trouble here with Master Sword Trinex. Unfortunately, having to use the hammer on this final phase is a bit harder than it seems.
Yeah, hitboxes are still a bit wonky with the hammer, and you have to have a proper timing to hit Trinex too, so it's a bit harder than just hitting it with your sword.
Yeah. The hitbox on the hammer is more of a suggestion than anything else, honestly.
Yeah.
So it looks like the lane really does not want to do Aghanim. Does have the keys necessary to do it, though. Looks like that's what we're going to be doing next. So yeah, our first Aghanim about 1 hour and 35 minutes into the seed. How's that for hype?
And it's not even a proper hype because we're still missing a few other big keys. So it could be a completely useless one.
That would be great. I would honestly love that. I don't have any quarrel with these racers. I just really want to see that.
Yeah, I want to see that, and I want to see how much time it takes for everybody just to go there and do that.
Yeah, because you're not gonna... I don't know. You might check, say, the Ice Big Chest. You might check... I don't know, what other one-off locations are there that we haven't seen yet? Oh, that's another thing. Thalanee never checked the castle tower, so they'll also have the book and the 2 spots that opens. Along with checking the pedestal too, but I don't really expect that anytime soon.
Yeah, just not with them. I already did Skull Woods, so it's not really in the way.
Although Tairr's Trinex fight is a lot easier with Tempered. The jump from tempered, or the jump from Master Sword to tempered cannot be overstated in terms of how useful it is.
Yeah, you've seen that right here how fast that fight was with only the tempered sword compared to Zarby's with the hammer. It was quite faster. It does speed up a lot too on Ganon.
Is this our first Pyramid Fairy check on eLmaGus' side?
I think so. That's another location we kind of missed out a bit.
You know, I think eLmaGus might be doing this because if it's not here, he can mirror and then go directly into Aga Tower. He doesn't even have to enter the castle proper. He can just go into Aga Tower.
Yeah, that's great routing actually. If he still remembers about that big key.
I don't think eLmaGus forgot. Looks like Zarby might actually have the same idea. Difference is that Zarby still missing Quake, still missing a bunch of other locations that other runners have checked. And we're getting to Aghanim on Thalone side at just over 1 hour, 37 minutes.
It's amazing.
Zarby is trying to get silver arrows the vanilla way. Fortunately, it doesn't work that way in Randomizer.
It's that's interesting.
But I believe throwing a bottle does work. Maybe it doesn't, I don't know. I know it works in the waterfall fairy. That's actually pretty nice fill. Free blue potion.
Yeah, it's considering the time it takes to go back to the potion shop, might as well do it here if you're going to try and just get one blue potion.
Yep. And true to form, eLmaGus is ascending Aga Tower. Tairr might actually be doing the same thing. The difference is, however, is that Tairr's gonna do the same thing. He threw in the wrong item. I think Tairr's taking this very seriously. Well, I don't want it, so take it back. It's a good line.
Nobody wants the red orang. Why?
Alright, so we're going to be seeing now just what's inside Lumberjack. Maybe? We might actually be seeing a pedestal check first. Tairr is opting to go to Swamp Palace, most likely, instead of doing Aga Tower. Though chances are Aga Tower is the way.
Yeah, we both know it's not in Swamp, but Tairr doesn't know that. Not for now.
So get your pedestal hype. Nope, it's just a little bit of love. Unfortunately for Tairr, this is his second entrance into Swamp Palace. And his beeping mirror is expressing just how much he likes doing that. So Thalane will probably be making his way to the Lumberjacks once he remembers how to get there from the middle of the Lost Woods. So in just a few short moments, we'll be seeing if the lane is, sorry, if we're in no mode or not. The lane still does need to go into Ice Palace and kill Cold Stare to get that Ice Rod.
Yeah.
But once eLmaGus is done swagging Aghanim, oh my, is that what I think it is?
It is! We were right!
Yep, so that's no mode. The lane still needs Ice Rod, but eLmaGus will probably be making his way quickly to being in go mode. So we'll Keysanity, folks. That's the nature of the beast. But the 1 hour 35 minute required Aghanim to get a big key. Don't get this kind of ridiculousness in other modes.
I gotta say though, on a personal note, that my Aghanim seeds on commentary are like 90%. Like almost all of the seeds I commentate are Aga seeds. I don't know why.
Must be cursed.
I call this a blessing as a commentator.
So yeah, eLmaGus is now completely in go mode. Needs 1 crystal in Desert Palace, has the big key, can just warp right to the boss, or the segment of the place that has the boss in it. Then it's off to Ganon's Tower, and we got the big key for Ganon's Tower, like, what, 5 minutes into this seed?
Yeah, super early from the bottle merchant.
So, we don't have silvers in hand. Smart money is that silvers are in G-Tower basement. But I wouldn't be surprised if eLmaGus decides to check the chests upstairs.
Yeah, those are good chests if you're looking for silvers. I wouldn't check them if it was only for, let's say, golden sword. But silvers, it's a good time save.
So Tairr's about to finish up with Swamp Palace here. We'll still be missing... that big key. But Tairr is definitely on the path to victory here. Well, not victory, but beating Ganon. And the lane... This is not really the place you want to be, looking for Ice Rod at 144 in Keysanity.
Oh, definitely not. It's, like we said earlier, looking for the Ice Rod or Big Key for Ganon's Tower are one of the items that could be pretty much almost anywhere, so it's a really trolly item to try and just go all over the place and try and find.
Zarby finishing out Eastern Palace, actually, getting that Tempered Sword. Fortunately, it is a pendant, and it isn't actually necessary. But it does give him that damage bonus that all the other runners have gotten so far. eLmaGus taking an interesting route to get to Ganon's Tower. I actually don't know if this is faster or slower. I just know most players go the other way. Zarby realizing he needs Quake still. Might actually be opting to do Aghanim 1. probably remembers that there's a big key at Lumberjack, but he's also missing the book, which is in Aga Tower. So hopefully, for Zarby's sake, he does actually go through and kill Agan in one. And eLmaGus, entering Ganon's tower, can go right upstairs, which is pretty common in Keysanity. So if you wanted to do the big chest game or big key game, Ganon's tower, it's already over.
Yeah, you only do it when you're at Ganon's tower and still haven't found it, which still happens. I've done it twice already.
So with thalanee going through Ice Palace, he'll be in go mode here. Depending on whether or not he goes to Cold Stare first or does a full clear, like, it's not a huge time difference either way, but at some point, thalanee is going to be in go mode before leaving this dungeon.
Yeah, definitely.
eLmaGus having a little bit of trouble in this gauntlet room, which is probably my least favorite gauntlet room.
Yeah, with this one or the next one here with the ice physics added to the mix, they're both really awful.
It's just the conveyor belts and the whatchamacallit, the BMO statues on the conveyor belts that get me every time. eLmaGus taking a death, but he might have a fairy. He does. So that's good. Does have half magic, but he is wasting a bit of that magic on fire rod misses. Zarby, I believe, is... Oof. He would have been the last player to check Spike Cave. He also has the fairy still. Everybody's surprising me with their fairies today.
Yeah, it's not every day you see all the players having their fairies in the bottle. Guess the seed was a bit more generous than we thought.
Fortunately, Tairr does not have a fairy here, and takes a death in Misery Mire, setting him back even further. And eLmaGus is just about to hit the second to last floor in Ganon's tower.
And it looks like you were right. He is opening a few more chests here to look for those silvers.
Yeah, it's not a big time investment, and there's 4 of them. In other modes, like in normal and standard, if you don't have silvers by this point, it's probably a bit better of a shot than in Keysanity, especially if you can skip the entirety of the basement, but I still think it's worth checking them. Even though eLmaGus is a skilled runner, has Tempered Sword, and can very easily do Silverless Ganon. Tairr, unfortunately, finding that big key to Ice Palace. Like, it could be somewhat fortunate, because it could point him to Aga Tower. Well, thalanee, or I don't know how to pronounce it, honestly, is now in go mode.
Yep. And with that, he'll be making his way into Turtle Rock just to finish it up quickly, and up Ganon's Tower he'll go.
Unfortunately, no silvers here on the Ganon's Tower ascent. And Zarby's finally making his way into Swamp Palace. While eLmaGus just got a nice triple, I believe.
Yeah.
Aga too. That was a 2-3-1 pattern. So Zarby is about to not be in go mode, but will have the Quake Medallion soon enough. Problem is that's going to lead him to full clear Misery Mire before checking Aga Tower. And Zarby did opt to not actually do Aga Tower, sorry, did not actually complete Aga Tower. So we'll have to actually double dip that. And eLmaGus is pretty much into phase 3 of Ganon, right after these fire bats are finished flying. So on his end, we'll probably be seeing, unless we get a Ganon fall, a sub 2-hour Keysanity seed.
Yeah, we do have to remember that despite the bit of trolling they had near the end here for the Desert Palace Big Key, they did have a really nice beginning to the seed. Almost every item was given to them early on.
Yeah, Keysanity has like the biggest variance in terms of time of all the modes. I've seen times in the 30s. I've seen times in like the 230s or more. Like all from like really good runners.
Yeah, and as somebody in chat pointed out, it looks like silvers were in Thieves Town, and we never even had the big key for Thieves Town, so nobody would get the silvers.
Yeah, I assume the big key's in here somewhere. So Tairr is now on the right track. He's going to be completing Aga Tower. Pretty much the best option available to him right now, and he probably remembers that there's a big key there. And eLmaGus does it. Kills the big blue pig. Finishes with an SRL time of 1:53.44. Good game to eLmaGus.
Indeed, good game. That was quite fun. That was a fun seed. We'll be looking in shortly if he wants to do a short interview with us.
Yep. Well, meanwhile, while we check and see if eLmaGus wants to come in and talk, Tairr is heading into Aga 1. He'll probably go directly to the Lumberjack Cave after this, and will be in go mode. Zarby, on the other hand, needs to finish out Swamp Palace. Will probably be heading to Misery Mire. And who knows at that point when he'll end up in the castle tower. I mean, the options for Zarby are going to be slim as well. He's a few minutes behind, but I think he's checked pretty much everything outside of doing castle tower.
Yeah, well, with that second key, it gives out a slight hint to where everything could fall into place, but yeah.
I kind of hope that in future versions of Keysanity that they like add little letters onto the key icons or sprites, so you know what dungeon they're from, instead of having to do like a text pop-up saying you found the key for this. It would just say like pod on the small key sprite. But then again, we wouldn't have situations like this where you don't know what big key is in Lumberjack.
Man, I gotta say, Tairr beating Aga 1 with the hammer that was nice to see.
So eLmaGus will be doing an interview in a second. He is actually in one of our voice channels, so I guess we can bring him in now. Hello, eLmaGus. Good game.
Hey there, GG.
So, I guess my first question would be, like, when were you thinking about Lumberjack?
All the time.
Okay.
Oh man.
I mean, that's...
Because about an hour 20 in, all that was missing was the swamp key. I mean, I needed a TR small key as well, and the big key for desert. And that's like, you always have this in mind. There is this big key in the Lumberjack cave, and then if you find the castle tower key, you have to consider going there. It's a huge gamble, of course, because you have, like, when I found it, I had the whole mire dungeon left, and I skipped left side, so I was like, uh-oh. This is, and the biggest thing is that I was missing a lot of other big keys too. So like, it could have been for me it could have been the Thieves Town big key. It could have been the Ice Palace big key before I entered Mire. I found that there, luckily. That pushed me a little bit over, so that I decided to do Aga at that point. But yeah, I was definitely really scary because you have to make a decision in a race like this. So like, yeah. I went for it and it paid off in the end, so...
Was that the latest required Aganim that you had to do?
Yeah, it's up there. Definitely up there. I've had seats that ended with Aga as well, but not like this late, I think. Normally, I still had like 2 dungeons or more to go if I had to find an item there, but yeah, this was pretty late.
Yeah. With a very late key like that, we were wondering too, because this was not the only big key that was left for you to find. So there was definitely a risk of just being like, I don't know, Swamp Palace big key, or even worse, Thieves Town.
Yeah, I was very worried when I did Aga, but I had to go for it at that point. I mean, I don't know. I hope Swamp Left Side had the Thieves Town big key. Oh god, that would have been hilarious, because I don't know. Do we know where Thieves Town is, big key?
No, it's probably in Ganon's tower.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, nobody found the Thieves Town big key or Silvers.
Yes, yeah, Silvers were in Thieves Town, he said, but yeah. That's another thing I was a bit worried about, because I had a couple things left that Silvers could make a difference if Tairr found it, but fortunately it didn't.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest advantages you had in this seed was the fact that, unless I'm mistaken, you were able to do all of Turtle Rock in one go. whereas Tairr went in originally with not enough keys. One of the racers in the other race went in but didn't have the ice rod from Cold Stare. And I believe the other racer on the other race had the same situation.
Yeah, see, I figured that there was we had 2 small keys and a big key from like what we collected, and I figured there was another small key in Turtle Rock. But what pushed me over to look for stuff is that I didn't have the ice rod. That's like 2 things, like the small key and the ice rod that I didn't have, and that's why I decided to go into Ice Palace first, even though it was the pendant and we knew that very early. I'm glad I made that call. When I went through Ice Palace first, I was like, oh my god, I'm wasting my time here. And then I found a small key that was already good, and then Cold Stare dropped the ice rod, and I was like, yes! Yes! Sweet relief. That was really lucky that happened, actually. Because those 2 items, like the small key, there was a small key in TR, which, yeah. And if the ice rod is there, I probably am not in a very good shape then.
Yeah. It was interesting. One of the other racers was the first person into ice, and he decided to go directly to Cold Stare and then go back in. So he got the ice rod, but then he still ended up full clearing Ice Palace.
That's interesting.
So one thing I noticed is that early on you seemed a lot more thorough with checking like the early game spots. Is that typically how you like to do it? Like not letting, say, Agina's Cave go for too long?
Yep. The thing is with Keysanity, and what I've noticed, especially in the beginning, you miss 1 key and everything can screw you up. Like, you have to maybe do double and triple dips just because you missed 1 small key that is like, let's say in Agina's Cave. That can happen. So I really like to check all the locations that can have immediate items, which includes Agina's Cave, of course, Eastern Palace and all that, and this seed is paid off huge in Eastern, with the hammer and all that. But yeah, if you miss like 1 small key, it can mean disaster for you, because that can snowball really, really quickly in Keysanity, so I really like to be thorough at the start. From the mid-game onwards, I like to maybe loosen a bit more up. The seed was a bit special because I kept being thorough this seed, simply because of Turtle Rock in the end, but yeah. Early game, definitely. If you miss 1 item, it can be all over there already.
Yeah, looks like Tairr is actually trying to set up, I don't know what glitch this is. It's using the Cane of Samaria in a doorway to get out of bounds. Thalanee is also in the final phase of Ganon, so we'll be finishing up here in a minute. Let's see. I don't know, this seed, it felt pretty generous at the start, and then over time it just got worse and worse until it ended up with the required Aghanim.
Yeah, the start was really... I was wondering if we could sub 130 at the start, to be honest with you, but then yeah, it like kind of got convoluted at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah. I had a feeling the second I saw that big key, the Ganon's Tower big key,
yeah,
in Kakariko, that this is gonna be a fun seed, I think.
Yeah, I mean, overall, you still had a sub 2, which is by far not that bad. There's more trolley seeds out there. And of course, pedestal was not required. But I think it was still it was a great race to watch and commentate on our side. So thanks for racing for us, eLmaGus. That was pretty fun.
my pleasure. Thanks for commenting, guys. I really am glad that it was enjoyable.
Yeah, and we have the lane ending in the top race with a time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, 25 seconds. So we'll be seeing if we can get the lane in here in a minute. eLmaGus, any final thoughts about this seed?
I'm glad I won.
Okay. We'll see if the lane wants to head in for an interview. And the answer is yes, but it'll take a second. I guess to give more of an update, Tairr is still trying to do some major glitches, and Zarby is clearing out Misery Mire. Unfortunately, what he needs is not here. I assume he'll be doing Castle Tower soon enough, if he even completes the seed.
Yeah, he's definitely looking to entertain us for now.
I'm wondering if Tairr actually decide to finish the seed, what sort of a time you would be looking at? Maybe like a 2:10? Because he's been at this for a while.
Yeah, judging by what he was missing to do, yeah, he was definitely looking forward. Maybe that at 2:10.
Well, actually, Zarby did do Castle Tower. And does have the Desert Palace big key, so he is actually in go mode, which must have missed. But he is going to be trying to hover this gap here in Misery Mire.
Oh baby, go Zarby. Looks like the lane is just waiting for us in the setup room. Let's drag in over. Hey there, Thalanee. Good job on finishing this seed first. That was quite a seed, right?
Yeah, I guess.
It was very interesting right from the start with gnarly boots and flute. Made the movement very fun and very fast until, you know, Keysanity quite kicked in with searching for all those keys and big keys.
Yeah, I mean, like, after the race, I think I could have saved, like, a ton of time. Like, at the start, I was looking at the lumberjack cave, and I wasn't sure if that's a small key or a big key, so I don't know, and I didn't confirm, so I just went out and had to go there again later to confirm that it's a big key. And also, I should have done Ice Palace, like, way sooner, so I think I would have saved the trip to Judge Rock, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, you were the first person to actually get the big key for Desert Palace. You weren't the first person in go mode, but like eLmaGus actually got the got the ice rod well before you. But yeah, you were the first person to actually do Agate Tower at like 1 hour 37 minutes, and the first person to actually grab the key.
Okay, I think eLmaGus probably only had Desert Palace left then, right?
Right.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, I believe the Desert Palace big key was the go mode item for everybody else. Yours was the ice rod, which is not really fun. I mean,
Yeah.
not fun.
I was hoping that I could dodge Ice Palace at all. Like, that would have been like really nice, because I thought like some people might have gone to, or like, I mean, I only raced against Zarby, right? So I thought he might have gone to Ice Palace like way earlier because it was open like really soon, I think. And so I was hoping I can dodge it and that there's nothing of value in there, but it didn't work out.
Yeah. Your opponent ran into a lot of trouble pretty consistently throughout the seed. Like, pretty much every decision he made didn't go the way he wanted it to, which pretty much led to him being thoroughly behind. Unfortunately for him. Interestingly enough, though, and something I missed at least, is that he got the Desert Palace Big Key before even entering Misery Mire. Though I guess everybody did a good job remembering that Lumberjack existed.
Yeah, even we did forget about that for the longest time. Even if the players did see it early on, it just shows that when you're looking at all these items and all the keys and big keys, it's really very easy to just forget or just put out of your mind something for so long that you just say, "Ah, it's fine. I'll do it later," and whoops.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was a very valid concern just because there was a lot of big keys left to get for all the players. So yeah, it was quite a gamble. It paid off at least for all the players.
Yeah. Any other thoughts about this seed?
Not really. I think it wasn't too trolly. It was alright, I guess.
Yeah.
Could have been like way worse, like, I don't know, Thieves Town, Big Key, and then, I don't know, like going forth and back a couple of times, but it wasn't too trolly.
Yeah, as we were telling eLmaGus, the intro to this seed is very, very nice. eLmaGus said he thought it could have potentially been a sub 120 seed, or sub 130 seed, or sub 120. Anyway, the point is it would have been fast if it would have kept being that generous. But yeah, it's Keysanity and no one gets out alive.
It's part of the fun. You get some quick seeds, but I think most often than not, you get some pretty cheesy seeds.
I was personally really impressed. Like, I haven't seen you race at all, and like mechanically and mechanics-wise and routing-wise, I feel like a lot of the play was very on point. So I'm hoping to see you continue to play maybe in the next tournament.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, you're 1-1 now, which probably means getting to top 8 is going to be pretty hard, but it's still possible.
Yeah, I mean, if not, we are all in it for fun, right? So it's fine either way.
Exactly. These competitions, they are made really for entertainment beforehand. So, and you definitely gave us a very entertaining race to commentate tonight.
Yeah, well, thanks for commentating and tracking and restreaming.
So, Zarby is finally making his way to Ganon's tower, whereas Tairr has, I don't know if it's EG, but he glitched his way to Ganon. So he has actually forfeited from the race, and is just basically killing Ganon for show.
Yeah, he was demonstrating a bit of EG here, just skipping straight into the Aga 2 fight and then going to Ganon, like you just said. Might as well. I mean, he could have completed this seed by now, but when your opponent's already over, you're pretty much you do whatever you want.
Zarby, on the other hand, I think Zarby might have been a bit confused. Oh no, he's doing the same thing. Or is he?
I think he is.
So we'll probably be seeing another forfeit from Zarby.
But at this point, it's pretty much just some good old entertainment value we're seeing from these players. So if you really like what you're seeing, give them a follow, as they have definitely been entertaining us for the past few hours here.
Yeah. Looks like Zarby gave up on his illegal cheating and is going to be completing the seed legally. Unless he hovers. Just kidding.
We could still see that. I mean, Trolldorm is still up there.
Tairr is demonstrating some pole spots that we might not necessarily know about. Zarby is making his way past Ganon Ball Z into the gauntlet.
Looks like, having failed to kill Ganon Silverless, Tairr is trying to cheat to get himself some silvers here.
That's two of our racers that have tried that. Just FYI.
Though it is a nice trick to be able to just throw in an empty bottle and get it refilled with something. I don't know if that's randomized, what the fairy here gives you.
I'm pretty sure it is. Unless it used to be and they got rid of it. But it could be like bees. Fairy could just give you bees.
It's definitely one of the features you don't see often in these races, so it makes you appreciate it when these runners just go for it for show, or sometimes for utility.
Tairr is doing round 3 with Ganon? Not actually sure. Zarby's on the Wizrobe floor with some of my favorite rooms in the game.
Oh yeah, these rooms with the Wizrobes are so amazing to see every time.
Yeah, I've been so scarred by Zelda 1 that seeing Wizrobes die like that is a treat.
Yeah, I understand. Zelda 1 has completely different Wizrobes that are really, really, really awful.
Tairr in the final phase again. Remember, he actually did forfeit because he did EG to get here. It doesn't really matter in terms of like standings and stuff, just because like your seed time or your seed completion time, I don't think really matters for placement because you have to actually win all your races to be placed that way anyway. Even if Tairr manages to go, was it 4 and 5 or 4 and 1, and he wins the however many player play-in race, he's just going to be placed at the number 8 seed. Now the race is on to see if Tairr can beat Ganon Silverless before Zarby can get to Mega 2.
I think Tairr is nearly done here. Maybe a few more hits?
Oh, he got it. The arbitrary race is over.
Wait, did he just Okay, I think he's fine, but I know there's a glitch where if you use an item and don't have enough magic to use it after, yeah, you go in this weird glitch state.
Yeah. I personally don't know how to trigger that, but it is pretty swaggy. So Tairr is finished. Let's see if he wants to hop in for a quick interview. Tairr respectfully declines.
Are you sure about that?
I mean,
Surprise interview, apparently. Yeah, well, GG Tairr, you just demonstrated what EG is all about.
No, I didn't.
So how did you like that seed, Tairr?
It was pretty okay. Just that freaking Desert Palace key. Annoying place.
Yeah, I hear you. First off, you have to remember that Lumberjack had a key, and you had to count on it being what you needed.
Hey, at least everybody needed it, so time loss for everybody, I guess.
Do you remember what time you went into Aga 1?
Good question. 1 hour and 40 minutes. Somewhat around this time.
Yeah, maybe. Probably the latest Aga required I've seen, but it was a pretty reasonable seed from the start. It just kind of went off the rails near the end.
As always.
I'm wondering, considering I missed it, where did you get your last Turtle Rock key? Not the one that was inside the dungeon, but the one that, like, the third one you found.
Where was it?
And the reason I bring it up while you're thinking is because the other runners all pretty much found it. So, like, everybody had a weird difference going into Turtle Rock. eLmaGus was the luckiest, and it was actually able to fully clear it. Thalanee had all the keys necessary.
Excuse me.
Of course he was lucky. That's why he won.
Yeah, Thalanee was kind of lucky in that he had all the keys, but he didn't have the ice rod because he never actually went into Ice Palace until later. And I believe you went in and got roadblocked by the chain jump room.
Yep.
I think on Zarby's end, he had a similar thing that Thalanee had, whereas he had all the keys but no ice rod, unless I'm mistaken. Anyway, do you remember where that key is or not? I guess it doesn't really matter at this point.
No.
But yeah, Zarby actually finishing in third place with an SRL time of 2:24.55. I forget if he doesn't like to do interviews, but I'll ask anyway. It's interesting seeing the time variance in this one. Keysanity can produce some pretty wide variances between like the first runner and the last runner. In this case, it was basically 30 minutes.
Yeah, it goes to show that all these extra small keys and big keys to find does add a few more layers to this mode compared to open or standard.
Mhm. So before Zarby hops in, or if he doesn't want to do that, Tairr, do you have any final thoughts on this scene?
No.
No. Okay. Zarby, as I recall, does not typically want to do interviews. He respectfully declines.
So congratulations on eLmaGus and thalanee for having these wins under your belt. It does mean that eLmaGus is going, I believe, 2-0 forward.
Yeah. This was a pretty scary matchup between eLmaGus and Tairr. I think the matchups are only going to get scarier.
Why scary?
Huh?
Why scary?
Scary just because, like, one loss means it's hard to get to top 8 if you lose once.
Okay.
I think you still have a shot, Tairr, and I think thalanee has a shot.
I don't have a shot.
I think you have a shot.
No. This was this was like my 5th Keysanity seed.
It's okay. Just do what everybody else doesn't in the playoff. Assuming you can go 4-1.
So not racing, okay.
All right, cool. So, unless we have any other thoughts, I think that's about it for us. I guess I'd just like to give another shout out to our trackers. That's Dude and Dragon Strike 1988. Give a shout out to my co-commentator Dynasty Zero. I've been Rubel. If you liked watching any of these runners, please toss them a follow. So, GG's to eLmaGus, thalanee, Tairr, and Zarby.
Yep. Thanks for the good race, guys. And there's more races coming up tonight. I believe there's the next race on this channel, Speed Gaming 3. There's one in about 30 minutes. So you can stay here or maybe switch to another Speed Gaming channel. There's plenty of races going around.
Yep. And with that, I'll be signing off. Thanks for watching, and good luck to all the runners in the future races.
Yeah, good luck, and see you later, guys.